Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa channel. Let's continue. His father opened the door and entered the room, still giggling in a strange, repeated way, almost as if he could not stop himself. He kept saying the same word over and over, giggling as he spoke, and his mother stood behind him looking genuinely happy about something. The father was holding a few things in his hands, and both parents suddenly stopped at the doorway, staring straight ahead. They froze, as if they had walked into something unexpected. Seon and Jungwook were standing there, and for a moment, none of them knew how to react. The air turned awkward, and Seon immediately worried about what it would look like if they had been caught standing too close or in the wrong position. Seon's instinct kicked in, and she quickly pushed Jungwook away from her. Jungwook looked at her, confused and startled, and asked her where she was going. She answered that she was leaving. She turned her head and glanced at the table that had medicines and food on it, which had clearly been prepared with care. She pointed at it and said that she did not want anyone misunderstanding and thinking she was sick, so he needed to clean up the table before anyone thought something unnecessary. Jungwook stared at her and spoke one word, sounding surprised as if he could not believe she said that. Then she quickly walked away. Jungwook let out a short laugh to himself after she left. He looked at the table full of food and medicine without speaking, just staring at it. Then he muttered to himself that after going through the trouble of preparing everything, she still wanted him to clean it up, and she left without even touching him. Meanwhile, Seon walked further away and her mind started spinning. She wondered what she was doing. She remembered that she had almost kissed him earlier, and that thought made her panic. She kicked her feet lightly in the air in frustration and told herself to stop thinking about Jungwook, to stop letting her mind wander like that. At that moment, his father called out to her from behind, asking if she had finished the work in the orchard. Seon paused, unsure of what to say, and answered hesitantly, trying to figure out how to explain. Before she could continue, Jungwook appeared behind her and said that they were not able to pick the apples. His mother reacted next, speaking in a slightly teasing tone. She asked Seon if Jungwook had taught her well, because earlier Jungwook had said that he could teach her himself and that they should leave them alone. Seon looked at Jungwook with wide eyes when she heard the part about kicking them out. She repeated the words in disbelief, wondering what he had said to his parents. Jungwook looked at her deliberately, almost challenging her reaction, and she stared back at him, trying to process everything happening around her. Jungwook replied calmly that he had not been feeling well, so he came home earlier than expected. His father looked at him with concern and asked what was wrong, telling him that he had brought chicken for them to eat together. His mother added that she felt like he had been watching them earlier when they were about to eat together, so they had bought dinner from the market on their way home. Jungwook told them that the three of them should eat without him because he had already made porridge for himself. He repeated it, saying porridge again, as if to emphasize that he really did not need anything else. He then said that he would eat in his room. His expression showed a small hint of confusion, perhaps because of the situation or the timing, but he stayed polite. His mother accepted it and said that if that was the case, then he should rest well in his room. Jungwook quietly walked away toward his room. His father watched him go, then sighed lightly and said that it could not be helped. He turned to Seon and invited her to have chicken and beer with him, calling himself uncle as he spoke to her. Jungwook, who was just within hearing distance, turned back and looked at them. He gave a small smile and said that it sounded good, as if approving the idea. There was a brief moment where Jungwook felt a faint jealousy rising inside him, though he did not say anything about it. After that, the three of them, Seon, his father, and his mother, sat together and ate the chicken while having beer. The atmosphere slowly settled down as they finished their meal, and after some time passed, Seon felt tired and went to her room to sleep. As she cleaned herself with a cloth, she thought in her mind that Jungwook had not come out during dinner at all. She remembered how he had been clinging to her just earlier, and she tried to make sense of his sudden distance. She thought to herself that he was not shameless enough to laugh and face her casually after everything that had happened. Her thoughts returned to his confession. She had never imagined that Jungwook would confess to liking her. He was popular, someone many people paid attention to, and she and Jungwook had been strangers for years without anything meaningful between them. She felt completely clueless about how to take it all in. She told herself in her thoughts that it was too much to process at once. She sighed and brushed the thoughts away, saying to herself that she would deal with everything tomorrow. For now, she just wanted to sleep. Seon lay back on her bed, closed her eyes slowly, and let herself drift into rest, deciding that tomorrow's matters could wait until tomorrow. The room was dark, and Seon lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. The silence made her more aware of her own thoughts. She flipped to the other side, trying to find a comfortable position. She still could not sleep. Her mind felt restless, and she murmured internally that she really could not fall asleep no matter how hard she tried. She wondered if she should get up and drink some water, thinking it might help her calm down. As soon as she thought about getting up, Jungwook's face appeared clearly in her mind again, making her even more awake. She sighed and eventually pushed herself up from the bed. She told herself firmly in her thoughts that she was only going out to drink water, nothing else, and that she was not doing anything strange. She stepped carefully out of the room, trying to be quiet so she wouldn't disturb anyone. When she reached the hallway, she paused and looked toward the staircase that led upstairs. Her eyes lingered there longer than she expected. Instead of heading to the kitchen, her feet began to move toward the stairs. She climbed slowly, each step heavier with hesitation. In her mind, she wondered what she would do if Jungwook was actually sick. The thought made her feel embarrassed, but she continued climbing. She tried to justify herself, saying silently that she was only going up because she was worried about him. But her own mind challenged her. Was she really going up only because she was worried? Or was it because she missed Jungwook and could not stop thinking about him? She pushed that thought away and told herself that his excuse of being sick might not even be true. She said in her mind that he was probably waiting, but still, just in case, she needed to check. Seon moved closer to his room. She noticed that Jungwook had closed his door tightly today, much tighter than usual. It made her pause in front of it. She stood there, staring at the door, almost as if she wanted it to open on its own. She wondered why she even came upstairs. She questioned herself, asking if she truly wanted to see him right now. Her hand hovered near the door, unsure whether to knock or turn back. She hesitated, her heart beating faster. Then a sudden thought crossed her mind, one that startled her. She wondered if Jungwook was inside doing something private, something she should not interrupt. She questioned in her mind if Jungwook was possibly busy with himself. She froze, unsure whether to laugh, knock, or run back down the stairs, caught between worry, curiosity, and embarrassment all at once. Seon stood in front of Jungwook's door, her hand still resting lightly against it. She wondered if she should just take a quick peek, even though she knew how ridiculous that sounded. She froze and scolded herself silently, realizing how out of control her thoughts had become. She wondered if she had completely lost her mind and whether Jungwook's boldness and the way he acted earlier was somehow rubbing off on her. Embarrassed, she quickly pulled her hand away from the door. But after pulling back, she found herself staring at the door again, unable to stop her thoughts from drifting toward him. She felt the urge to open it, just to see him, just to make sure he was okay. She admitted in her mind that she liked him ever since they lived next door. Now that everything had changed between them, it felt impossible to ignore that truth anymore. She wondered if Jungwook was really the kind of person she sometimes accused him of being in her thoughts, someone who acted shamelessly or boldly in moments like today. Her thoughts drifted to the porridge he made for her. She realized that she had not even thanked him properly for it. She had avoided him since then, and the fact that she had not seen his face made her chest feel tight. She missed him more than she wanted to admit. The memory of how flustered she felt around him replayed in her head, stirring a confusing warmth through her. Suddenly, her mind replayed the moment earlier when he moved close to her. She remembered the way he leaned in, the way the air between them grew heavy, and how she reacted without thinking. Her hands moved on their own now, brushing lightly along her arms as if trying to recreate that feeling of closeness, that breathless intensity they shared when neither knew what to say but both felt something unmistakable. She stood there, lost in the moment, imagining the tension they had shared, how close they had come to crossing a line neither of them fully understood. Her heart raced as she imagined what he might be thinking on the other side of the door, whether he was affected the same way she was, whether he was also replaying that moment over and over. Then, without warning, the door opened. Seon barely had time to pull her hand back before Jungwook appeared in front of her. He stood there, looking surprised but calm, his expression unreadable for a moment. Their eyes met instantly, locking together before either of them could react. The hallway felt silent and still as they stared at each other, the tension from earlier rushing back all at once. Neither of them spoke, but the air between them felt charged, filled with everything they had been trying to avoid saying.